God for the privilege of being in the house of God. I was just thinking when these testimonies were going forth tonight, if we could all feel just how the one felt that received these wonderful blessings, what a wonderful meeting it would be. I tried to imagine the joy that went through that sister's heart when they told her, after facing that dreadful place, going there with TB, one of the most terrible things, and then to have them tell her that she was well, she didn't have it anymore, and she was going home. I just tried to picture in my mind and tried to feel how wonderful she must have felt. But we've all had those experiences, haven't we? We've all had those blessings. Then my eyes dropped down here to a daughter that we led on this campground a few years ago, and it looked, in spite of anything we could do, she was going to go blind. We had to put her in a tent here and make that tent just as dark as it could be made. When we took her anywhere on the grounds, we'd have to lead her around. But my mind went back to one day when I met somebody right out here in the trail. Looked at that child and said, "Brother Frost, I don't believe God will ever permit that child to go through life blind." It seemed like we took a little faith and heart again. And they prayed once more, and God healed her. Oh, folks, that gratitude that fills a heart when God comes down and answers a prayer like that. A prayer like that. I thought I'd been raised right out of the grave. Why wouldn't I like to get up in front of the people that prayed me almost back to life again? Head laid open, brain punctured. Why, they wouldn't say that I'd ever stand to have that head dressed. But I'm here. Brother Ernie Caton was by my side when I was struck down. Ernie said he never thought I'd ever speak another word. Oh, people, I want to tell you, we've got a mighty God. A lot of folks here remember the morning Mother Crawford got up on Sunday morning. He said, if we ever see Brother Frost again, we'll have to pray. While the old saints went down before God, and about prayer time, why, it just dawned on me on that old cot I was on there. I'd heard them do it hundreds of times. I'd heard those requests, and I thought, they're praying now. They're getting a hold of God. Oh, people, when they pray, God hears and answers. I thank God tonight for this wonderful salvation. This wonderful gospel. Wouldn't you love to tell it one? I'd love to tell it. I've said it many times, and I know everybody does. You'd be willing to just die, give your life. If you could ever tell it like you feel it, down in your heart, just like it really is, you'd give your very life to do it. Someday, bless God, I believe we'll get a chance to do it like it is. Won't that be a glorious day? Go to now, ye that say today or tomorrow, we'll go into such a city and continue there a year and buy and sell and get gain. Whereas ye know not what shall be on tomorrow. For what is your life? It is even a vapor that appeareth for a little time, and then it vanisheth away. For that ye ought to say, if the Lord will, we shall live and do this or that. We used to hear that more than we do today. I remember the time when the saints would hardly say anything, would hardly tell you they'd see you in the morning or they'd meet you tomorrow or anything, but what they'd say, if the Lord will. And I'll tell you, folks, I fear sometimes, I know I'm one of them, that we get away from those things and we forget that we'll never do it if God doesn't will. And I believe the reason God's got that in there, put that in there, is because of the uncertainty of life. I just thought there isn't a man or a woman on top of God's footstool tonight that has a right to get up and tell me that I'd be alive in the morning. Show me that man or woman. There's not a man living that has a right to say, I know you'll be alive tomorrow morning. Why? It's in God's hand. It's in God's hand. No wonder God said we should say, if the Lord wills, I'll do it. If the Lord wills, I'll do this, or I'll do that. Oh, I want to tell you folks, there's a lot of warnings in this Bible. I was just reading tonight where God said where He had called and they wouldn't answer. He says the time will come when they'll call and I'll not answer. You know they wouldn't answer God, and God says the time's coming when they'll call. He says, I will not answer. I will not answer. I'll tell you folks, it's no small thing to trifle with the gospel. It's no small thing to play fast and loose with God's gospel. You can think of the time ever coming when a man or a woman could ever call upon God and not get an answer. It's hard to imagine that. When you think of His great heart of love and compassion and what He paid for to redeem us and what He went through that we could have this wonderful gospel, and to think that man would abuse that and waste his opportunity and ever get to the place where he could call upon God and He'd turn His head. And God wouldn't answer. No wonder He said over there in Isaiah, seek Him while He may be found. No wonder He says, call upon Him while He is near. He can be found now. He can be found by any one of us sitting in this place. Right now. Right now. He might not be able to say that in an hour from now. Someone sitting here might not be able to get Him. We can have Him now. Don't you thank God for that? Isn't it a wonderful thing? Somebody says, but that would seem hard for God to not answer when we cried, just because we'd rejected Him and grieved Him and made Him feel bad for years and years and turned down all of His reproof and everything. They think God is hard not to do that. You want to find out about what His great love will do? Let's go over into that 5th chapter of John. Follow Him. See what He does. I tried to picture tonight as I was reading it, as He went down to that feast that time. When the folks gathered at the feast, He was missing. He couldn't find Him. Where was He? Down by the old sheep market, down there by a pool, where He knew a lot of poor cripples and suffering humanity was lying around that pool, waiting for an angel to come down and trouble the water. And it said the first one that could get into that water, after the angel troubled it, why, he'd get his healing. But, oh, Jesus knew where that place was. I dare say He was there a good many nights when those people were sleeping and didn't know it. That great heart of love of the Son of God was looking out over that crowd. And this day He walked down there, walked into the place, and He picked out a man that had been there for 38 years. Isn't that just like Him? One that had had the more discouragements, more disappointments perhaps than anybody you can think of. Whenever someone said the water was troubled, this poor fellow, he began to look for some man to put him in. Just what people are doing today instead of looking to the Lord. Why, they want to get a hold of some man to help them. Let's take it right straight to Jesus Christ tonight and let Him help us. Let's get a hold of Him. He'll do it. This poor fellow has been there 38 years. Try to imagine how he felt. Jesus walked in that day and looked at him and He said, would you be made whole? Now I think He meant, would you do what it takes to be made whole? Would you pay the price it'll take to be made whole? Why, you say He had nothing to pay. Oh, yes, He did. He had a life to give. Jesus A man answered him, and he says, whenever the water's troubled, an angel comes down at a certain season, troubles the water, and when the water's troubled, why, I don't have any man to put me in it. I have no man to put me in. Jesus, all he had to do was speak to that man and say, take up your bed and walk. You say he didn't have a price to pay? Oh, yes, he did. He had to obey what he was told to do. There was a chance for an argument right there. He could have said to the Lord, you tell me to pick up my bed and walk? 38 years I've been lying around this place. Can't even drag this poor body over there to the pool. And you tell me to pick up my bed and walk. Thank God it wasn't very long till he was walking and he was packing his bed. But he made an effort. He began to move. He began to try. Why don't you do that tonight? Why don't you put a little effort forth and see what the Lord will do for you? I thought of that poor, weak soul that had been there so long. How many times he'd seen people come down there, perhaps lie down there for a little while. Somebody says the water's troubled, and they'd crawl over there and get in, go away with their healing. Time and again he'd seen others walk right past him and get it. And I just thought of the folks that have seen that right here. You've been perhaps lying around this pool for a long time. You've looked at it many a time when the waters were troubled. Oh, how many times have we seen the power of God come down in this place until the minister could hardly give the word. The power would be falling. The waters were troubled. The waters were troubled. Yeah. And how many have been right through that kind of a wonderful meeting, and they've seen others walk down the aisle, walk right past them, get into the pool, and go away with a victory. Amen. And they're still around the old pool, and they haven't crawled in yet. Oh, that's every one of us right now. What would happen if every one of us right now would breathe a little prayer to God and say, God, let somebody that's been here a long time, that's seen many a man come in and get it and go away, and they're still seeking, Lord, give it to them tonight. Wouldn't it be a wonderful thing? Yeah. Will you breathe that little prayer? Will you ask God to do that? Maybe that one that has seen many a man go away with that wonderful experience that he's longed to have. You say, well, I'd do anything to get it. Well, do what that man did, make an effort. Yeah. Believe it. Yeah. Amen. Mother used to tell us about that little gap we had to span by faith. That little place we had to cross, just reaching out to get it. When I was thinking about that this evening, I thought there was that man lying upon that bed, that pad perhaps that had been there for years. And then I saw him rolling over on that pad. That little gap he had to cross was obedience. Yeah. That little gap he had to cross was obeying. Was doing what the Lord told him to do. Make an effort. Get up from there and walk. That's no more of a command that you and I have when he tells us to go in and put on the whole armor of God. Put on the whole armor of God, he said. For what? That you may be able to stand against all the wiles of the devil. That means you'll meet him at every turn of the road with victory. Yeah. Another place he said you'll be a little bit more than conqueror. Thank God you'll walk over him and you'll have a little to spare. Yeah. Saints, we've got a wonderful gospel. No wonder you say you'd be willing to die, give up your very life if you could ever tell it like you feel it down inside of you. Wonderful, wonderful salvation. Yes. Why don't you purpose tonight? You're never going to stand for another one to walk past you and get it and walk away with it, and you'll still be lying around the old pool. Why don't you settle that tonight? You say, I can't. Oh, yes, you can. Yes, you can. If God gave it to one man, he'll give it to another. If one man can get it, another one can get it. It's not God's fault if we haven't got it, is it? How many tonight would like to have special prayer from the saints that you get that wonderful thing you've been seeking? Thank God. Oh, folks, that might just make this revival just start boiling. If a few would get through tonight that hasn't been getting through and been around the pool for a long time, that tonight, bless God, drag yourself over there and get in. Amen. It'll start something going, and we'll all get a blessing out of it.